Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I get to start my week out with all of y'all on this magnificent Monday. Really excited to start the week off with a form of art that I have become to love so much. Of course, I'm talking about the opera. And joining me today, we have Julia Meyering. She's the youth corps director, the chorus. And so we talked to her about all of her work that she does that y'all don't even really get to see her do her thing because she's making sure everybody on stage is ready. So I'm so excited that we get to talk to her about her work with Seattle Opera. But of course, y'all know this is the top of the show. So first I talk to you. Hey, how are you sharing this show with others who you feel could benefit from this daily dose of dopeness we work to give you right here on The Day with Trae? Now, there's plenty of ways you could be sharing the show, right? You could be making sure that you send a link to our Converge media page at where we converge /the-day-with-Trae. Or you could also be sharing it through our YouTube link or any other of our streaming platforms where you may just be watching this very show right now. Go ahead and share it with others, y'all. You're really helping us grow and we appreciate you for it. Also, if you can't watch us, that's cool. You know, we got you covered. You can always also listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You'll find us on that platform. Now, before I get into it with Julia here, I gotta say, y'all, there's something special about watching children grow. Now, I have been talking a lot about my children because over the last few months, I've been spending a lot of time with Johnny, getting him to rehearsal for A Raisin in the Sun, going to the shows for A Raisin in the Sun, participating in all of the cast activities and things of that nature. And it really brings me closer to him as a parent because those long drives from Federal Way all the way up to the Greenwood area definitely gave us some time to check in on one another. But one of the things I noticed is when you're having deeper conversations with young people in your life, you find other opportunities to explore either similar interests or ways to share your insight that really help them grow. And I've been encouraging y'all to find ways to engage with young people right now. Yeah, I think we're just a bit too individualized, if you ask me. All of the devices at our fingertips really have us pulling away from one another at times where we really should be caring for one another more, checking in on one another, being there for one another. And for me, I have come to learn that that is so important, not only with my young son, Johnny, but also my older son, Amiri. Being able to experience time with him where I got to go down to his job, talk to him for a couple hours. He was still doing his work, don't worry. But it was beautiful because we got to really share some things he's excited for, ways he's preparing for his future. And I got to step back and realize there's so many different ways that our wisdom is imparted on young people, and then they take it and run with it in their own ways. And honestly, if you don't do that first part, the imparting part, sometimes kids don't have what they need to become who they're supposed to be. Now, not all the time, but sometimes. And it's enough of a ratio or a measure that I don't want a chance. So I'm encouraging you, spend time just talking to young people around you, in your neighborhood, your own children, people in your family, wherever you encounter young people, right? If you have something that you could share with them, a lesson learned, a bit of knowledge, a wedge of truth, right? It's so special to do that. And you never know what that might grow into. So I'm encouraging you to make your imparting of a young person in your life a priority, just like I've been doing. Well, after this short break, I'm excited because we got Julia Meyering coming up, and we get to talk about all the ways that she's imparting on young folks at Seattle Opera. You definitely don't want to miss this. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
I had some dental work done, and pain pills were introduced. It flipped a switch that I didn't see or know or understand, and I tried multiple times to show up and be a parent to those kids, but I couldn't do the minimum, and the grief about it was so huge that I would have to drink to deal with what it felt like to be in my body. Each one of those people along my journey has contributed to my success. Don't count us out. More people recover with support. Learn how you can help someone's recovery at supportaddictionrecovery.com.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client discussing their fields and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. I'll see you guys in a few.
The Better Vision Outreach and UBC presents the second annual Wellness and Resource Fair event, May 10th, 2025, 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Delridge Community Center, located at 4501 Delridge Way, Southwest Seattle, Washington, 98106. With free haircuts and facials for males and females of all ages. There will be job opportunities, housing info, mental health information, and more. Plus free tickets to the Seattle Aquarium with Ezel's famous chicken also providing lunch.
Here on Back to Vesa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Vesa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now, we got Julia in the building. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here and you get to share a bit of work that we don't always talk about. And I love this because the behind the scenes matters to bring these major productions to life through Seattle Opera. Tell us a bit about how you got started.
Well, in 2018, I had a friend encourage me to audition for Porgy and Bess. And I thought, well, you know, I kind of made the decision to be a music educator and maybe my opera days were over. But I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it. And so I auditioned and I made it in the chorus. And I was the one who ended up working with the kid extras on the stage. And it was so fun. And I was the only one who volunteered. And the kids loved it. I loved it. And after that, they kind of checked out my social media posts about my choir and how they're doing. And they just offered me to do the youth chorus for La Boheme in 2020. And that didn't work out.
Yeah.
And so they asked me back.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so you're already doing this work outside of Seattle Opera, which also helps, I'm sure, inform how you do it for the opera.
Yeah.
What began your singing days? I mean, did you start in choir too?
Yeah, I did. I've been singing my whole life, grew up in a musical family. My grandmother was in like a USO singing group with her sisters. My grandma on my other side was like a gospel singer in her Southern Baptist church in Oakland. And so I kind of just grew up around music and did choir in middle school and high school. And my high school director was an opera singer. And he was this amazing, beautiful Black man with this booming voice, and he really inspired me to sing classically, and that's the path I went down. And I went to college and got my degree in vocal performance.
Wow. See, it's always something so special. I mean, we were just talking a bit in the commercial break about the importance of imparting our wisdom on young folks. So you get to do that in choir and now for Seattle Opera. Tell us a bit about what it's been like to bring this, 15-member chorus together for Tosca?
Yeah, well, we start auditioning them in the fall. And so I went through probably 90, 100 kids over 3 days. And just kind of picking the right combination of kids, because I feel like you have to have the right combination of different voices and they have to be able to sing in tune. You have to make sure that they are independent singers. So for me, it's a pretty complex audition process. And then there's actually a height requirement on this one. And so that also is another factor. But yeah, the audition and we start rehearsals and get going.
Wow. What does that rehearsal schedule look like for those of us who may not know how much work and dedication it takes to pull these productions together?
Yeah, well, it starts with learning the music and what's going to happen. How am I going to prepare kids as young as 9 for this very complex music and have to think about all that? We get them for our first rehearsal. They have their scores. And the first thing I do, and you're talking about imparting wisdom and sharing with kids, is I have them fill out this thing called a personality profile. And they answer all sorts of questions about themselves. And everyone does it. And it's like a full page of like, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? What are 2 things you're good at? And everyone fills it out and gives it to me. And at the beginning of every rehearsal, I read one, but I don't tell them who it is. And so throughout the whole rehearsal process, we all learn about each other, which brings us closer together, which builds more trust, so we can do this hard work. And after we get done doing that and the warm-ups, we get into our music. Rehearsals are 1.5 to 2 hours long. We have an amazing accompanist with us. And yeah, sometimes I have to learn the chorus parts or the soloist parts. A lot of times the accompanist also does that, and we take turns because they have to usually sing with the chorus or with a soloist. It's not just like a choral piece. It's a teamwork kind of piece of music with soloist, chorus, and the youth chorus together.
Wow.
So it's pretty complex. Yeah.
Well, of course, one of the questions I have is, oftentimes operas are in other languages.
Yeah.
So you're working with, young people, and they have to you were talking about getting the music down.
Yeah.
But that feels like it's a whole body of work.
Okay, so with foreign language, I usually start them with speaking the language in rhythm several times to almost memory. And then we'll bring in the notes on like a neutral syllable like ta. And so we'll learn the notes, and we'll learn the language, and then we'll bring them together. And that's kind of how, at least my process is, because it's, again, 9-year-olds, have to be able to do this. And sometimes if kids really struggle, I'll make recordings of the text for them so they can work on it at home, because it is pretty complex with, German or Italian or French.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really a cool way to expose young folks to not only the arts, but multidisciplinary facets of the arts, which I appreciate. Just talking to you about this. Now, we come show day and they no longer have you there, right, with them. So how do you prepare them for that transition?
Well, so I usually hand them off from like what I do to the maestro before we go into staging rehearsals, and that's kind of the test to see if they can do the work. We run it, and I have them like turn their music around. We were jumping in circles and dancing while singing. But I mean, it's not just the singing part and the language part, because when they get to staging, and I'm kind of done, they have to do their language and their music with their acting.
Yeah.
And they're moving all over the place, and they have to sing, and they have to look at maestro, and they have to know their cues. So it's a lot of practice, and I keep notes for them. So that's one way. I don't direct them anymore in their music, but I take notes and give it to them every rehearsal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, because, of course, I'm thinking about my son, and I'm like, he's been in musicals before. He understands the need to be on key, have staging, also emote with your face. All of these things, in one. But opera is told through song.
Yes.
And so there's something really special and intricate about that. what are some of those joys that you experience in your role when you're watching all these young folks find their joy in this work?
I think so. In the staging, what you're talking about, I love when they get to the place where they're so comfortable, where they're like communicating with their faces, the text in a different language, and they're looking at each other, and they're looking this way, and they're looking this way, and you as an audience member get what's going on just from watching them and watching their joy. That is just amazing. And once they've done the scene and they feel good about it, when they feel good about it, like, we did a good job. That's when your heart, I mean, like you with your son, when your son's like, yes, that was the best night, your heart just explodes.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my goodness. This is really, really interesting because it sounds like they are a major part of Tosca and this telling of this story.
Yeah.
How do you see the prominence of their overarching role as a youth chorus coming in to help elevate and amplify the story?
Well, I think so they're only in Act 1. And when they come into the scene, it's a scene where the sacristan, who's like the caretaker of the church, comes in with news, and what they bring is excitement. It brings youthfulness, it brings silliness, it brings the thing that only kids can bring, you know, that like youthful joy to the scene. And it's just a pleasure to watch them on stage do that and bring it to the opera, because this opera is like, you know, jealousy and betrayal. And then there's, you know, a scene where the kids are like, woohoo! And I think it just kind of elevates the liveliness and the joyfulness and a little bit more lightheartedness to the opera, where you kind of get a break from the heaviness. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of their role, is to just kind of elevate it to a little bit of a lighter tone before it gets deep.
Wow. Well, this is really special, and I'm so grateful that you came on to tell us about your work with Seattle Opera, because as many people as I've had on, this is such a different and unique, you know, viewpoint of what it takes to pull these productions together. And of course, as someone who just loves it, I get to sit in the audience and be like, wow, I know it's a ton of work, because I think about, you know, I geek out on set design. I just really do.
Oh, just
and
wait.
Lighting. Because, you know, all of it comes together in such a magnificent way. And this is why I enjoy live performance, because there is something special about the synergy of energy, like, that I always talk about. And so, Julia, thank you, because clearly you're passionate about this and you're imparting that passion on these young folks. Of course, if people are trying to stay tuned and make sure they come there to see Tosca, look right there, let them know.
And you need to see, the show. Oh, you need to see the show. My 12-year-old begged me to stay to see the entire show the other day for rehearsals. He's in the chorus. You can go to the Seattle Opera webpage, which is seattleopera.org. And you can find, there's also really cool different event days too, if you are interested in that. And I really hope that you come.
Wow. Thank you so much for your work and for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing our story of the youth chorus and opera to life.
Anytime, you know, you can always come back to the Day with Trae. We got you.
Well, I'll see you when you come.
Yes, you will.
The show.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Y'all, now I'm excited to see this show, and I got to wait until it's like final day. So I will be waiting, but I will also be encouraging you to get your tickets right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
In Seattle, it's more than just coffee. It's community. At the station, we brew more than just your favorite cup. We brew connection. From Beacon Hill to Columbia City, we're a space for artists, activists, and everyone in between. A place to gather, create, and simply be. Whether you need a quiet place to work, a lively spot to meet friends, or just a moment to unwind, find your place at the station. More than coffee, it's home. Visit us in Beacon Hill or Columbia City. The Station, where community happens. Black caregivers, entrepreneurs, and elders, this one's for you. Queen Care is offering complimentary self-care services to those who give so much to their communities. Take a moment to restore, recharge, and be cared for with free wellness treatments at the Spa House by Queen Care. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Go to queencareproducts.com now to sign up or scan the QR code on your screen because you deserve the same care you give to others.
Working with Dentalman has been totally different than working with a traditional bank.
They're real, and they meet you right where you stand.
I was recently funded, and that money has just changed the trajectory of what we're able to do and our output. This has been just more than just funding or a one-on-one connect. It's been an opportunity for us to really grow and connect and build roots within the community.
As a small business owner, you need to put your faith into the right people, and they seem like good people to put their faith into.
Welcome back, y'all, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to my guest today, Julia Meyering, for joining us and giving us a glimpse of that work that it takes to bring these phenomenal productions to life for all of us there out in the audience, getting to witness the beauty and sometimes that tragedy that these stories can bring. Huge shout out to Seattle Opera and the work they do with us here on the Day with Trae. It's always great to be able to showcase to you all that there are phenomenal people right here bringing all of these stories to life for us to enjoy. Make sure you get your tickets to Tosca today. Go ahead and head on over to seattleopera.org. Get your tickets. Clearly, there's a lot going on in this show, and there is joy coming from the youth that you definitely don't want to miss. Thank y'all for starting your week off with me today. Y'all know I'll continue with you throughout the week. That means I'll be back tomorrow. And until then, at 11 a.m., y'all, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.